Welcome viewers to Souldin of the Grin Brothers E3 2015 Tea Time Talks. I hope you enjoy the following videos as Souldin of the Grin Brothers shares his thoughts on each of the E3 conferences. We shall now begin. Welcome everybody, Souldin of the Grin Brothers here, and it's time for another segment of E3 2015 Tea Time Talks. This segment will be about Sony's E3 conference, one that I couldn't record immediately after the conference, because for those of us in the UK, Sony's conference aired at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had to have watched Microsoft's, EA's and Ubisoft's all before it. So by the end of it all, I was exhausted of watching conferences. So I don't have with you to share my immediate thoughts on Sony's conference as a result. But it's interesting to sort of consider how my thoughts have changed over time with given more time to actually look back on the Sony's conference itself. For instance, if I were to have shared my thoughts on it immediately afterwards, I would have sort of expressed how Sony had a pretty good sort of conference, a lot of exciting things, interesting things. There was a lot of hype and excitement to it. Now that I look back on it though, I'm starting to see the flaws with it, with the conference itself clearer, mostly because I do have some note taking down here, which reminds me of a few of the things. And in doing so, I see how few of the games that I was personally interested in. Sony's conference, while I do think it was very well presented and it did a great job of building up hype and interest, it wasn't one that personally appealed to me in terms of the games that they're offering, and there's certain parts of it that I feel quite flawed. For instance, I will admit straight up, they had some great reveals in the Last Guardian finally getting a release, albeit it's a 2016 release. It's forever ruined the joke of The Last Guardian's never going to get made, but hey, it's finally coming out. It's not a game I care about at all, but for all you who've been waiting for it, it's finally coming. Final Fantasy VII Remake is something I care about, and I'm really excited and I'm really happy that's all being done. It's PS4 exclusive, which is good for Sony, not good for me, because it's only my older brother who's moved out the house who has a PS4, which I got him. So there's no PS4 in the house itself. So Final Fantasy VII Remake, not going to really get much of a sort of chance to play, because you don't go round to someone else's house to play a long-going turn-based RPG. It's not the sort of game that you can actually take round to another person's house with ease, frankly. But yeah, I'm really happy to hear that's sort of being done. I would have preferred a Final Fantasy IX remake, or hey, a Final Fantasy VI remake would be a pretty cool thing. But Final Fantasy VII, it was a cool Final Fantasy, so hey, glad so many fans are happy with it. And the Shenmue 3 Kickstart, again, like with the Last Guardian thing, it's not a game that I care about, but I know a lot of people do care about it. And good on Sony for supporting this Kickstarter. There's a running theme, though, with a lot of these games that Sony ended up talking about. None of them are coming out this year, or at least none of which were announced particularly of a this year release date. Last Guardian, which would be the one game I would think would be coming out this year considering how long it's been in development, isn't coming out this year. They had like one or two games which didn't really have a release date attached to them, at least none that I can remember being announced at the end of them. But there wasn't really any sort of games they were announcing that was 2015 release. They were all 2016 release, or even further. I mean, I don't think the Final Fantasy VII Remake will be ready in 2016. And so if I was a PS4 owner myself at this point, I'd be quite annoyed that they didn't reveal any games for this year. To Microsoft and Nintendo's credits with their conferences, they had plenty of 2015 games sort of on show. Sony don't, and to my knowledge, they don't have a lot of 2015 exclusives in general, even the ones that weren't actually shown. I can only think of the top of my head the Uncharted Collection and the Tearaway PS Vita port to PS4, which honestly doesn't look too good. I mean, they're getting supported by third parties, but the same can be said for Xbox. And some of those third parties are still working on PS3 games or PC games. So, yeah. On that note about Tearaway Unfolded, I believe that's what it's called. Not that it was shown at the conference. That should be a good thing to talk about PS Vita, or talk about how there wasn't any PS Vita there. I think they had the PS Vita up on screen for all of like 5 seconds, 10 seconds maybe, and the only game new game they announced where the PS Vita was mentioned was World of Final Fantasy. The PS Vita has been so poorly neglected. I mean, before a lot of the rumours were going on about how there was going to be a Gravity Rush 2 sort of reveal. Some were saying that it was also going to be available on PS4, but hey, it'd still be a new Sony-made game that would be on the PS Vita, even if it was on the PS4 as well. But no, nothing from Sony for PS Vita. It really feels like such an abandoned platform. I mean, I know there are some Japanese third parties who are making games for it, but still, I feel sorry for the system. It seemed like such a cool concept, but it seems to be so poorly handled. And I'm not sure why there aren't more people criticising Sony on their treatment of the PS Vita, because it wouldn't put much faith in a company for me if I'm seeing them do that with one of their products. Yeah. But I've been mentioning a lot of things that I think were problematic with the Sony thing, so perhaps it's time I mention things I actually did enjoy about Sony's E3, because, there were some. As I mentioned prior, I'm really happy that Final Fantasy VII is being remade. That's a really cool thing, and it's one of those big dreams come true. Final Fantasy VII isn't one of my favourite Final Fantasies. I prefer Final Fantasy IX, 4, and 1. There's the Crystal Chronicles spin-offs I really enjoy. Some of the Chocobo games. And I think in terms of story, I kind of prefer Final Fantasy VI. But I do like Final Fantasy VII. It's a turn-based RPG. I think it kind of got sort of pushed under the radar for me because at the same time I was playing Final Fantasy VII, I was also playing Breath of Fire 4, and I absolutely love Breath of Fire 4 to bits, and it's one of my top 20 favourite games of all time. So Final Fantasy VII kind of got pushed under for me, but it's still a game I enjoyed, and really glad to hear the remake is finally happening because I know a lot of people wanted it. On that note, another game from Square Enix I enjoyed the look of was World of Final Fantasy. I love chibis, I love cute little art styles, and I like the concept of you getting the monsters and then switching up between whether you're riding on the monsters or they're riding on you, and that's a cool concept. I like the idea of the brother and sister working together, though honestly when I first saw the brother I thought this was a promotion for Kingdom Hearts because that kid looks exactly like Roxas, he really does. Also, seeing Chibi Cloud and such is always absolutely brilliant because it's a serious character in the form of a chibi. Always nice. Always nice. But yeah, don't own a PS Vita or PS4, so unless that comes out on PS3, I'm not going to be able to get the chance to try World of Final Fantasy. Maybe I should try to pick up a PS Vita or PS4 in the future, but at the moment, not sure about it. I'm going to look at my list and try to remember other games. I saw a second of Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. Not in, properly in the conference. It was just, they were showing us a reel of games that are coming out, and I saw a snippet of, Sasuke at one point, which was like, oh, cool, I'm really looking for Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. Admittedly, I'm getting on Xbox One because I don't own a PS4, but still, really cool. I saw a snippet of footage of Ratchet and Clank, the movie-made game, Ratchet and Clank, and the game based off the movie, based off the game, based off the movie, based off the game. That's the tagline. I've messed up the great joke. What? I'm tripping all over my words. But yeah, I saw a second of footage of games I actually like. So, kind of wish they actually talked about them a little bit more in the conference itself, but they didn't. But there was another game that I liked seeing in the conference. Firewatch. I think it's an indie game. It does sort of come across like that, although it's a very beautiful looking indie game. Sort of like first person, which is usually a big turn off for me, but it's like a mystery game, as it were. it just looks really nice, and there was a lot of humour to it. The game looked gorgeous, so really colourful, and the nature feel was beautiful, and yet you could already tell that sense of mystery to it, which it intrigued me, which is a good thing for a mystery. I want to know more about it. That's a good thing for a mystery to have. So Firewatch, it was a rather surprising thing for me to be interested in at the Sony conference, but that's something that interested me. And that is pretty much it for what Sony had that interested me. They had a new Media Molecule game, Dreams, which I think is a bit too, abstract for my personal taste. I find that, heck, even with Little Big Planet, I preferred playing the game over creating it. I like creating as a side thing. For instance, the stage builder in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, really like doing that. But creation, when it's the main emphasis of a game, I don't seem to take to it quite as well. It's always something I thought I'd be interested in, but it turns out I'm not as interested as I thought I'd be in such concepts. But cool to see Media Molecule are working on a new game. Anything else? There was this game, Horizon Zero Dawn. That looked nice, but nothing really interested me. It's just not my sort of game from the looks of it. Nice that it's third person though. I always prefer the third person view, so jolly good on that. They also had Uncharted 4 at the end. I've yet to play the Uncharted series. Me and Rafi, well, because my older brother, because his PS3 broke, he basically left his collection here for us to play. Kind of wish the PS4 had backwards compatibility now, didn't he? But in turn of leaving the collection, we've got the Uncharted trilogy on the PS3. So all three of the Uncharted games on PS3. No need for an Uncharted trilogy for PS4 for this house. So me and Rafi will probably get around to maybe playing them someday on Grin Brothers, maybe. So there'll be a chance to play them. But yeah, they showed off Uncharted 4. It looks nice little bit of humour. Pretty cool game. I can understand why people are excited for it, for its release in next year. Does leave a big hole for Sony. I know, unlike Nintendo, they've got a lot of third parties to cover up, but they really are lacking in a strong exclusive for the second year in a row, because last year I can't remember there being a strong exclusive. I think they had like Drive Club or something. And yet the PS4 is selling. It's a mystery to me. But yeah, I can understand why a lot of people were excited for this conference, Sony's presentation, and I feel that presentation-wise, they did a really good job. But when you get down to it, they ignored the PS Vita, and they didn't really have any exclusive games for 2015. And the games they did show weren't really for 2015 weren't really focused on 2015, exclusive or not. I think they had the Call of Duty and the Assassin's Creed, which again, both coming out on Xbox One, and I believe some of them and I believe they're both coming on PC. So makes it a little redundant to promote those as your 2015 games. Again, not much for exclusive. But yeah, they good presentation, but not really the games to excite me, and not really the games for this year. So that is all I have to say on the matter of Sony's conference. Hopefully you lot enjoyed it more than I did, and hopefully you lot found that there was more games that you want to get within that conference. So then, cheerio!